Hello students, welcome to the online classes of St. Joseph English Medium School. We'll start with this first poem, Dust of Snow by Robert Frost. As you know, we have already studied Robert Frost in the 9th standard when we read the lesson, the poem, which was The Road Not Taken. You know that he is a poet of a class. He writes very simple and lucid way of language which we can easily understand. The words are simple, which we use in day-to-day life. But he writes his poems in a very, we can say, insightful way. He writes insightfully. Insightfully means he makes us think inside. In The Road Not Taken, we had seen already, if you remember, that the poem was something on the road not taken. We had to think about when the road is there. It's also a metaphor where we have to consider our life, where we have to divert or what on the ways of the road, and our life is included in that road. In the same way, here, the dust of snow. Words are simple. We know about the poet now. We'll see the dust of snow. The dust of snow itself is a common phenomenon. Dust of snow. Snowfall is a common phenomenon in the cold countries. So he's taken up the snow as a poetic device. You can see over here that it's a simple poem, a 2-stanza poem, 8 lines. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. Simple. The poet is standing below a tree. He's sad, he's miserable, and how can we know that he is? He has poetic devices like crow and hemlock tree, which represents sorrow and bad omen. Instead of the crow, he would have taken very, we can say, birds which are colorful, birds like beautiful singing birds like bulbul or lark, and we can say peacock. All these he would have taken, but he's taken crow, which is not very auspicious bird. Yes, yet he has taken it. That shows that something he is specific, want to say something. That is why he has taken crow. Hemlock again is a poisonous tree. The flowers of this hemlock tree are poisonous, and yet he has not taken maple or oak and other good trees which are around. He took hemlock. Why? Because that also is a sign of bad omen. He is not happy, he is not, that can be seen from the first line. So in the second line, when he concludes that, has given my heart a change of mood. Now which mood he was in and what change of mood he has got, we don't know that. But from this we can make out, secondly, he also rued, he regretted the day, and that change is for the good. The rued is regret, and that regret here says that his heart needed a change. For that part of the day, he had already lost the day when he was not connected with nature. He was sad within himself, and therefore, when he sees this, the snow falling on him, the chill of that coldness of that snow falling, it alerts him from that brooding matter he was on, or he was miserable. That changes, that mood changes of his. And that way we can see over here, students, that the change in mood is brought by this process which the crow does of shaking the snow particles from the tree, that is the branches and the leaves that have it, and it shakes and falls on the poet. That is represented in the first paragraph. In the second, he what effect it has on him. He says that the heart needed a change of mood. His heart got changed. He got happy by heart. How? Because up till now, the day what he had lived, he was regretting that day. So regret, that is ruined. That half of the day he had ruined, or the part of the day till this snow fell on him, he had regretted that period. But after that, he got what is called the contact of nature, and therefore this process brought him a happy mood, and that way it saved his day. You also save a day, you should be able to connect to nature whenever you are unhappy, you are sad, you don't know. At the time, you lose your part of the time of the day which is very important for you, and you lose it. But when you again come in touch with nature, you get it. You get it. So that way, the contact with nature. Robert Frost is a nature poet. Therefore, he makes us aware that nature, whenever you keep in touch with nature, you will be happy. You see, many very, very simple things which we see in our daily life. The flowering of a bud into a flower, or you can see the green plants, or the young ones of animals. Many things like trees, greenery, the rainbow in the sky, the falling of drizzle of the rain, all these are nature. And if nature, you go near to it, you feel happy. The nature poets teaches us how to respect nature. And that is why always nature poets have been applauded, because they give us what is called the bright side. It takes us to the bright side of life. So here, Dust of Nature, with this simple 2 stanzas of this poem, is very understandable. But as I told you, it needs an insight. Why he has chosen the hemlock tree? Why the crow? What mood it brought the change? Why? What he had lost before that? So with this, we conclude that the poem is about nature. Whenever we are in contact with nature, we will be happy. Our miserable and sadness of the nature, it vanishes and we become happy. So here, these things we come to come to know through the dust of nature. Now, taking into consideration the figures of speech, here it is, crow here represents metonymy. Metonymy as a figure of speech is crow represents sorrow. So it's metonymy. Got it? Then again the hemlock tree, metonymy also it is because the hemlock tree represents bad omen. So here the 2 figures of speech are understandable. That will write in the notes by this points I've written over here. Then other figure of speech is heart, it's synecdoche. And this line also has H as a consonant sound repeating, so it's alliteration. Okay? So 2 figures of speech or 3 figures of speech can also be in one particular line that you have to just understand. Then, and saved some part, here also S sound is repeated, so alliteration. The S sound, S sound is repeated. Saved some, that is repeated, so it's alliteration. So here, this part is complete, wherein figures of speech also are very few in this because of the lack of lines. The poet is used in this only 4 plus 4, that is 8, 2 stanzas, and therefore we will limit our figures of speech also to that extent. Coming to the rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme is ABAB. As you know, the crow, snow, me, tree. So here you can see that Here A is for the crow and snow, that is B. A, okay. A for crow and snow, and B for me and tree. So A B like this. In the same way, there's a heart and part. Heart and part. So you give A to the same rhyming part and B for this mood and rude. So that way the rhyming scheme of this poem is AB. Another important thing about poem you should know is that all the poems don't rhyme. All the poems don't have this scheme of AB or other formats of this scheme. They don't fit into this rhyme scheme. Those are called blank verse. Blank verse. Why blank verse are important also? Why poem, as you know, should rhyme only, but blank verse are also important. Suppose when the crow till me he has written, the poet is thinking that I will write the poem AB scheme. So if he writes here crow at that time, snow, he has to write over here to rhyme. He cannot use ice. So that limits, the rhyme verse limits his imagination, his freedom to write, use words that are easy for him or to explain or what he wants to. So here, that is why blank verse are those poems in which there is no rhyming scheme. So there's many things about the poem Dust of Snow you've understood. With this we conclude this poem to be done, and you have to write the textual exercise in this particular which will be a part of this poem. So here the textual exercise you complete and also write the figures of speech. Okay, that will complete your first poem. The second poem, that is Fire and Ice, that will take in the next session. Thank you.